This video will show you how to replace the alternator on a Chrysler Town Country with a 3.8-liter engine. This will be located along the passenger side of your engine compartment. Let's get into it. Okay friends, let's get started on our job. The first thing we have to do is disconnect our negative battery terminal. That's the terminal closest to the front of the vehicle. Use a 10mm to loosen the hardware just enough we can remove the terminal end from the battery post. Once you have it off of there, just a quick inspection. Let's start removing our serpentine belt. To remove the serpentine belt, you're going to have to make your way all the way down to the serpentine belt tensioner. You can see I have my 3/8 drive ratchet down on it at this point. Now, as I mentioned, you could use that 3/8 drive ratchet, or you could also use a serpentine belt tool with a 3/8 drive adapter, which is what I'll use. Now that we have the belt displaced, let's focus along the top of the alternator. We're going to start removing this metal bracket. It's held in place with a 13mm mounting bolt and a 13mm mounting nut. After doing that, we'll make our way to our positive wire next. Now, typically there will be a plastic cover over this. As you can tell, ours is damaged. Go ahead and remove the 13mm mounting nut and remove the wiring harness from the top of the alternator post. Once you've removed the mounting nut, you may find that there's a locking washer under there as well. For that, I'm going to remove it using a magnet. Slide that out of position. We will be cleaning this. For now, we're going to set it aside. We're moving along to the next connector. Now for this one, you can see that there's a red locking tab. We need to carefully make our way underneath this area. We'll pry it straight outward. Now after that, there's a secondary locking tab. For this, we're just going to squeeze it in by hand. We'll slide that out of place. A quick inspection for corrosion. This looks good. Go ahead and set that aside. We're going to continue on to 2 mounting bolts located inside of this area next. For each of these bolts, I'm going to be using a 15mm. There's my first bolt. I'm just going to start that back in just a couple threads here. That'll prevent this from falling as I continue on to the next. As you can tell, both of these bolts will look considerably different. Let's get that first bolt out of there real quick. The longer bolt would be the forward bolt. At this point, take hold of the alternator, give it a wiggle, and lift it up and out of position. If you need to, you could carefully pry. There it is, friend. Before we install the alternator, let's clean and inspect the mounting area. That would be along this area here. For this, I'm going to use a wire brush. I don't want to use any type of detergent which might make its way onto my serpentine belt, and that could cause damage. Okay, let's get ready to install our alternator. We're going to carefully get this in place down along the lower bracket. Continuing on, we have our 2 mounting bolts. As you remember, the longer bolt is the forward bolt. The shorter bolt will be the rearward bolt. Start them both in. After they're both started in, snug them up and then torque them to 40 foot-pounds. Double check, make sure that's secured. It should not move around in any way. We have our plastic electrical connector. We're going to line this up with the corresponding port on the alternator. Press it in. Listen for an audible click. Give it a tug. It should not slide out of place. Make sure you lock it in. One last confirmation on that. We'll make our way up to the next wire. Now let's move along to cleaning our next power wire here. For this, I'm just going to spin it so we can have a look at the lower side. I'll use a wire brush. You can use some sandpaper if necessary. We're attempting to remove as much debris as possible. See if we can get inside there for the next spot. This looks good. We'll slide it into place over the alternator post. Install the locking washer and the mounting nut. Once you have that snug, go ahead and torque it to 115 inch-pounds. Now we're going to take hold of the wire, attempt to move it. It should not move around in any way. If you still have a plastic protective cover, go ahead and install that now. Now we can get our upper bracket in place. Once we have it in place, we'll start on both pieces of hardware, snug it up, and torque those to 21 foot-pounds. Let's get the belt in the proper orientation here. We want to make sure we have the belt going around our power steering pump. We're going to take the smooth portion along our idler pulley. Now let's just continue on bringing this towards the alternator. We're going to have to pivot that tensioner clockwise so we can release tension and slide this over the alternator pulley. So now as I'm sliding the belt into place, I want to point out one thing. Now this is an extreme case, but you do want to pay attention to each one of the pulleys, especially the grooved pulleys. We need to make sure that the belt is properly seated. I have this off just so I can show you. If you had the belt sitting off like this, or even off by one of the teeth, you're going to destroy the belt and potentially cause other damage. Let's make sure everything's properly seated and in the proper routing. Just double check each one of the pulleys before removing our tool. This looks good. Now, before we reconnect our negative battery terminal, let's make sure we clean the battery post first. I'm using a battery brush for this. Just want to make sure we have a good contact point there. Now it's time for the negative battery terminal. I'm using the other end of my battery brush. You can also use a wire brush. When I'm cleaning this, I'm confirming that there's no miscellaneous corrosion or damage. Let's get that negative battery terminal in place. We're sliding it onto the battery post as far as possible. We'll tighten our 10mm mounting nut. Right there is bottomed out. We'll just take it a tiny bit further. Double check to make sure that's secured in place. Okay, friend, we finished our installation. We've already triple checked the belt routing. At this point, go ahead and close the hood and take your vehicle for a road test. Thanks for watching.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.